Alexa, play Mozart's Requiem. I said Requiem.
Hey y'all, I'm AJ Reyes.
And I'm Timothy Dailey-Valdes. This is Can I Bother You?
Yay!
Yay! I think it's so funny that we start so many of our shows by just saying yay. It's so like cheerful and happy.
I honestly hadn't even noticed. I say yay about everything.
Which is so funny if you think about it.
Yeah, well, it's because it makes other people feel good. And when other people feel good, I know I can get what I want more easily. What? No, I do. People do always react really well to yay, though. So, also, I meant to say this in the last episode. In the last episode, we talked about stuff, including my nihilism. And anyway, if other people are excited about something, I like to hype them up because it's like there's so many reasons to be unhappy in the world that if someone's happy about something, why would I want to take that away from them?
That's lovely, AJ.
Yeah, that's also why I don't talk to people too much. Okay, anyway, hey Tim.
Hey AJ, welcome to our living room.
Thank you so much. It looks like we've done something with the place. We've messed it up. That's what we've done with it.
Actually, it's straighter than it's been in a minute.
I cleaned it this afternoon.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, saying that I cleaned it this afternoon is really funny. If you guys could see, I still have a bunch of my filming equipment like everywhere. A couple of empty boxes. Whatever. Oh, you know what? That actually segues pretty well into today's topic. Today's topic is unfinished. Well, it started unfinished projects, and now it's kind of expanded to just anything we've left unfinished, because I realized there's a bunch of movies that I haven't seen the endings to. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so this mess that I have around me is an unfinished cleaning project, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my god, that's my room all over. Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, like forever. Whatever.
It's not true. I don't know if you're saying whatever to me or whatever to them. Or
Whatever.
Whatever. Remember when people used to do the W on their forehead?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Or just in the air, I guess.
The good old days.
Oh, the forehead thing was really more loser.
Yeah.
Also, I'm doing it, but I'm doing it with the wrong hand. Y'all can't see that.
No, that's the right hand.
Oh, you're right. It's when it faces you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like Karen from Mean Girl.
Oh, yeah. The K on her chest.
Yeah.
Oh, Karen.
Oh, Karen.
Anyway, so I feel like I've already started by talking about this mess that I wish you guys could see it. I could post it on the gram, but I've posted it in the story before. The messy living room. I'll do that. I'll post it on the story on Thursday.
It's really not bad.
The Thursday that this episode comes out. Whatever day that is. I can't remember. Oh, this is the episode before Thanksgiving, Timothy.
Oh.
Today is, if you're listening it to the day that we put it out, it's November 19th.
Wow.
So it's the Thursday before Thanksgiving.
This year? Where has this year gone?
Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out because it's coming up. Like, the ending of it is coming so fast.
I know, people are... God, I feel so bad because people are like, oh man, I can't wait for 2020 to be over. And I totally get that. This year has been awful. But like... the changing of the year isn't going to automatically make everything better.
Yeah.
So I'm just like kind of like every time someone says that, I'm just like, oh, I don't want to take away your joy or anything, so I'm not going to say anything, or not your joy, but your like hope.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but like hopefully the majority of 2021 will be better. But like the beginning is just going to be the same as whatever December is like.
I know, because all I'm thinking about is how it's almost been a year since the first lockdown, and that's not like exactly true, but we're closer to it having been a year than like having
time.
Yeah. Oh,
anyway.
Oh no.
Yeesh.
Anyway, I wonder when this will finish.
Well,
it'll be a minute.
Hopefully we'll have something to look forward to on Inauguration Day. That is not a political statement.
Yeah. Oh, we're recording this before Election Day.
Oh, that's true. So. Y'all, well, depending on how mail-in voting gets counted and all that, maybe they won't know either. But y'all will probably hopefully know what the situation is. At least better than we do. But AJ and I have both voted at this point that we're recording.
Yes.
And hopefully you have too. Well, I mean, no, Election Day hasn't happened for us. We just said that. So, like, if you early voted, that's great. Anyway.
Yeah. And good job.
Good job. Well done. Golf claps.
Gosh. I was going to say a thing, and now the thing is gone. There's no thing here. There's no thing.
The thing is gone.
Is
That was supposed to be Chet Baker, and it was terrible. I'm so sorry. Chet, may you rest in peace.
Rip Jetty. I don't know who that is.
He's like a jazz trumpetist / singer.
Oh, okay. Rip.
He sang a song. I don't think he even was the original person to sing it, but I think his rendition's the most famous. He sang this song called "The Thrill Is Gone," and that's what I was trying to go for, but because you said the thing is gone.
Got you. Yeah.
Anyway.
My brain did a thing and I got distracted by what I was looking at. Anyway. Oh, yeah. I don't remember how I got away from it, but I started to say I got the ball rolling. I think that's the phrase I used when I started talking about yep, that's what happened. Talking about my mess in the living room that I haven't finished cleaning up yet. So it's your turn, Timothy. Tell me what you have unfinished.
God, so many things. I would say, okay, I throw around the phrase vast majority on this show quite a lot. But I feel like the vast majority of artistic projects that I've begun are unfinished to one degree or another. Well, and part of that is I'm a big proponent of the artistic philosophy that artists don't finish work. They just either reach a deadline or they decide I'm putting it out into the world, and whether it's finished or not, this is as close to finished as it's ever going to be. So yeah, I don't know that I necessarily 100% believe that any artwork is ever completely finished, especially because so much of art is the viewer or reader or listener or whatever's perception of it. Yeah. So the answer is quite a lot of things I have unfinished in my life. Every play I've ever written, I've only finished... I directed 2 productions of different plays of mine that I wrote in high school. And those are the only ones that have ever been produced. AJ was in one of them.
Yeah.
And then I finished 2 in college for a playwriting class I was taking. And I finished like very short plays. There used to be this, I think it's defunct now, but there used to be this writing challenge every August called 31 Plays in 31 Days. And you would write like a play for every day. And I never got to 31. I think the year I got the farthest, I got maybe 6 or 7. So I finished very short plays, but by and large, almost every play I've ever started remains unfinished, just as a little file on my computer.
Yeah, they did end 31 Plays in 31 Days. Yeah, it ended this year. I remember when I saw the announcement on Facebook, I was like, oh no. I never did it, but oh no. It was nice to know that if I wanted to fail at something, it was there. I think one time I wrote 2 plays, and that was like it. Yeah, you and I have a lot of unfinished projects together also.
We do. Lots of unfinished collabs.
I think our oldest one is the Rockport play. Okay, y'all. So see, what had happened was my roommates at the time and I, this was 2009, my roommates and I and a few of our friends spent a weekend in Rockport, Texas, just on the beach. We were just hanging out. And there was a bunch of drama, not between me or my roommates, between some of our friends who were also there. And when I came home and I was hanging out with Timothy, I told him about it, and we decided to turn it into a play, and it was fun from what I remember. It's a character who is afraid of the written word, and he had a pet bird. But do we give spoilers?
I don't know. Yeah, he might have been the most, like, he was definitely the most eccentric character. He might have been the most interesting character, but he wasn't the protagonist.
Yeah.
But like the through line of the play, at least originally, was that the main character just wanted to get some sleep. And he wasn't able to for a number of increasingly outlandish reasons.
They were written as our ages were at the time. It's like, oh, you don't need to know how old we were in 2010. We were adults, though. So, oh, God, my birthday's coming up. That's another episode. I'll deal with that later. That's our first unfinished project together.
Right. We have quite a few.
We have so many.
We also started writing a mystery. I guess this was a film rather than a play. A sort of parodic send up of like the whodunit genre set in a beautiful old house. The premise was this old millionaire had died, and like his family was returning to his home for like the reading of the will, and like they had to stay in the mansion for like whatever. But then one by one they start getting murdered. I feel like that was the very general plot.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember how we had everyone dying.
It was all very ridiculous.
It was all very ridiculous. I'm remembering one, because at the time I didn't fully understand what lactose intolerant meant. And I was like, what if she's lactose intolerant? I assumed that lactose intolerant meant that you could be because I know it can make you sick. And so I'm like, oh, well, if it's like allergies, if you're allergic to something and that can kill you, I assumed it was like similar. And so I was like, oh, what if someone like slips some milk into your drink or something?
Oh, yeah.
And you pointed out that, or maybe Emma pointed out, but one of you pointed out that doesn't kill someone, and I was like, so then she's so worried about being gassy that she just kills herself.
I did not remember this.
Because she was because all the characters, because he's a famous millionaire, so of course all of his family are like ridiculous over the top characters, and so she was a very like prim and proper woman, and so I was like, the thought of having gas would like freak her out, so she just kills herself. Like, oh gosh, that's the only one that I do remember. I can't remember how anyone died. I think there were twins in it.
Yes,
it was quite a cast.
Yeah, and it was very zany. It was like sort of vaguely Clue-esque. Like, it was a little bit like Clue.
Yeah. I was going to play Mr. E, who is our murdered millionaire.
His name is a pun.
In case you didn't get it. I don't remember if this is the first line that we wrote for him, but he says something and it rhymes, and he's like, oh, I'm a poet. And I'm not surprised because I'm good at everything.
That's another line we quote a lot.
Yeah.
Or paraphrase sometimes.
What's the original? Like, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Like, yeah.
He had a lot of, like, lines that we quote or paraphrase in that opening monologue. Like, I think it started out as the maid made and the butler buttled.
Yeah.
He's, like, narrating, you know.
Because he's dead, so.
Yeah. Oh, and his...
I just remembered how he died. It
was like a balloon accident, right?
He was killed by a blimp. Yeah.
Oh,
and that's why I don't support the arts.
Yeah. The joke being like he thinks that a blimp is like fine art. And like also that's another thing that we quote all the time, just like randomly. And this is why I don't support the arts. Oh my god.
I apologize, not in advance because we're already like a few minutes into the episode, but if you're not entertained by this at all, sorry about it, but I'm having fun.
Yeah, sorry that we're like laughing at our own jokes from like 10 years ago.
I know. But like, so the voice, in case you didn't pick up on it, Timothy and I are kind of putting on a voice. I'm not doing the full voice. I haven't warmed up my instrument. So anyway, but the voice is loosely based on this guy from high school, and I think that we've already referenced him at some point in the run of our podcast. I think he's come up at least once.
Really?
Well, honestly, I have it vaguely feels right, but more than anything, I'd be surprised if he hadn't. Because, like...
That's fair. I don't think we've mentioned him, though. I think maybe we've done the voice.
I think we should call him Chaz.
That works.
Okay, cool. So we call it the Chaz voice. Except we use his real name. And that started because it was my sophomore year, Timothy's senior year, and we were doing Taming of the Shrew, and Chaz was in it with us. I don't remember who he played, but he was a freshman, and it wasn't the first show of the school year, but it was his first show with the department, and he was just a kid trying to like fit in and make friends and show that he knew things, and I get that now. But when I was also just a kid, I was like, bro, shut the fuck up and get out.
He was a lot.
And he was like, oh, we have to hold for laughs, like after a joke, and it's like, oh, do we? I can't even remember like anything else he would say. I just know we like took the voice and ran. Indubitably. We'd say that all the time.
It was like he put on this very like theatrical voice, which I mean, okay, so the character he was playing in the play he was actually pretending to be my character, if I'm remembering correctly. And
I barely remember Taming of the Shrew.
So, you know, he was like 3 layers of actor within the play, because like the framing device of Taming of the Shrew, I don't know if you're familiar with it. Not you, AJ, but I mean the listener.
Right.
But
it's by William Shakespeare. That is how it's pronounced. And that's why I don't support the arts.
Anyway, yes, it's by Shakespeare. And the framing device of the play is there's this traveling group of actors, and they come into town, and they're performing the Taming of the Shrew. And so the main play is a play within a play, but then within that, There are a group of characters pretending to be other characters. It's whatever. Anyway,
Shakespeare.
Yeah. So he, he has to be very like big and or he doesn't have to be. So what am I saying? But anyway, he chooses to be. That's the choice he makes. And at one point he's like, he says something about like, yes, something. Anyway, he like did the voice in like a line he had. He was like, oh, blah 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 blah. And like it was very like affected and weird and like yeah, we, like AJ said, we just took that and ran with it, and we started saying like very like pretentious things in the voice. And like, so anytime we need to be pretentious, we kind of put on that basic voice. Right. And to be fair, it's not how he talked in regular life, so it is kind of unfair that we call it the Chaz voice.
Uh-huh.
But also this isn't going to mean anything for you because you can't see it, but he was like, how stereotypically when someone's thinking, they like stroke their chin. Well, he, as a character choice, I don't know if he thought it was funny. I mean, it was funny, but not for the reason I think he thought it was funny. He very grandly like took his hand and like waved it over his entire face, finally coming down to stroke his chin. Maybe in the story for this week I'll try to do it, or AJ can try to do it. I don't know. We take turns. But anyway, he was quite a character. He was also, I won't buzz market it, especially because they're very litigious and they often, stalk and do everything they can to discredit people who criticize them. Not that we're like anybody, but he was also a member of a very well-known cult. So I feel like that informed a lot of his way that he was. Like, I remember, I've mentioned it on the podcast before, but listener, I don't know if you remember or have heard or whatever, but I have ADHD, and in high school, I should probably get back on it, but in high school, I was on medication for it, and he found that out somehow, and he was like, that's so dangerous. Like, you shouldn't do that. That's ADHD is so overdiagnosed, and you probably don't have it at all because it's all made up by the the evil psychiatric community and like blah 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 blah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That explains why I hated him so much, though, because I'm sitting here trying to remember. Like, I know he was super annoying, but like, is that the only reason why? Nope, there it is. Nope, there it is. He's probably grown, hopefully.
Hopefully.
I have seen him once since then. When I was working at Sonic, he showed up as a customer. Not like stalking me. Not that I blame him, but like, that's not what happened. I forgot all about the hand over the face thing. I forgot, like, once he started to talk about it, I was like, where is he going? Oh my god. It's coming back to me.
It was so ridiculous.
Oh my god. But anyway, so we kind of stole that voice, and I was kind of using it for Mr. E. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can remember about that show before we move on.
The whole reason it even came about was because we were spending the night at the oft-mentioned Emma's parents' house. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful Victorian era home here in Austin, and we were thinking this would be the perfect setting for this kind of movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we were planning on filming it there.
Yeah. But it never happened. We should finish that. We should finish all of these things.
Yeah. Someday.
In the meantime, we'll just keep starting others.
I'm starting podcasts. And,
oh my god, yeah. We're going strong with this, though. I don't anticipate this. I think if the podcast ends, it's because we're going to decide it's ended. Because, like, I don't think any of the shows or any of the projects we've done, I don't remember ever having a moment where we were both like, are we done? I think we're done. It's just kind of like, we just kind of stopped working on it. Started working on other things.
Life got in the way.
We started working on a web series that I've had this idea for a few years, and then I asked Tim if he would work on it with me. We started that at the end of last year, and we were working on it through January, and then I had to put it on pause because I started rehearsals for Sweet Charity, and so I didn't really have time. So I was at rehearsal every night, and it was in a different city, so it's a long-ass drive. And then I ended up not being able to do that show because of COVID. Yay. But anyway, we're going to get back to that eventually. And that I have no doubt about because I've come back to that idea like 3 or 4 times. So I'm like, that's going to get finished. Just probably not for a while now that we're working on this podcast and I'm working on my YouTube channel. but I'm really excited about it. I don't want to talk about it too much because it's so new, you know? I don't want to give any of the juicy details away, and it is juicy, y'all. Okay, so just picture this. I'm just kidding. You can stop picturing. I'm not going to say anything.
I feel like you might be surrounding it with too much hype. You know what I mean? Not hyping it up too much, but you know what I mean? It has a lot to live up to now. Not that it can't, because, it's going to be amazing.
I was like, if I'm part of the project, it'll live up to the hype. I'm not worried about it. I also have unfinished projects with Katie.
Hey, girl.
Hey. I've mentioned her in other episodes for sure. But, we were starting to write something together also at the beginning of this year, and that also kind of stopped because of COVID. We weren't able to get together anymore, and then we were trying to figure out what our new lives were, so we didn't really have time to stop and write with each other. I liked that idea a lot, though. It would have been a short horror film, and we would have released it this month, because we were on track for our plans. We were just starting to get through the first draft, and we were right on schedule because it's when we thought we would be doing the first draft. So I was like, oh, look at us, meeting our deadlines. And then the world ended. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Maybe in a couple years.
Oh, no.
Do you have any other writing partners that you have unfinished things with?
Technically, yes. A classmate of mine from grad school and we were in an epistolary poetry class together. Epistolary poetry is poems in the form of letters and correspondence. And
I assumed it was either about the Episcopal Church or about pistols. So thank you for explaining.
So we started writing letter poems back and forth between each other, and we were going to write a short book of them. It's basically done. We were going to edit it a little bit and then start submitting it to different publishers and contests and stuff, and we just haven't done it. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's basically done. I don't know why we haven't. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know how to say this without sounding bad. I feel like I'm not very good at collaborative writing. I always feel, I don't really know how to put it into words. It's not anything I would ever seek out. I always enjoy doing it, but it's not my preferred way to write. And this is part of why, because I can leave a project on hiatus forever and then come back to it, but if I do that with another person, I feel guilty. And I mean, I would never do it on my own, to that other person. I would never be like, hey, I'm going away. You do your thing. I'm putting this on hold for a while. I would never do that. At least not intentionally. But I feel like there's a better way to explain what I'm trying to say, and I just can't get there.
No, I think I get it. I mean, I feel like the main message is just that it's not that it's not for you, but it's not you. Yeah, that makes sense. Not everyone writes with other people. That's not everyone's immediate or preferred or best way to write.
But like I said, I've always enjoyed it when I've done it.
Yeah.
But it is way more challenging to me.
My problem is that I've always thought of myself as a writer, but I don't write. And then when I do try to write, when I'm writing alone, I'm like, oh, this is so hard. And so it's almost easier for me to write with other people, even if they do kind of flake on me, even if they don't seem to be as invested in the project as I am, which is not a comment on you at all. You and Katie are not the only people I tried to work with. But yeah, even if I'm working with someone and it feels like maybe they're not as crazy about what we're working on as I am, it's still helpful for me to have someone to bounce ideas off of. Because yeah, when I get stuck on my own, I'm just like, all right, well, I guess I'll just YouTube for a few hours then, and maybe I'll try to finish it in a couple days. When I need to finish it now.
Well, and that's another difference in our writing needs or our writing ways. Is that I almost never have a deadline.
I mean, back in the day I didn't have deadlines. Now for YouTube I have to, if I want to make sure I put a video out. I've just realized that if I don't give myself a deadline, I won't do it. I just won't do it. I even just said that a second ago. Oh, I'll just watch a few YouTube videos, maybe I'll come back to it in a couple days. No, finish it now. A lot of my videos, especially my Halloween videos, every video I released in October, with the exception of Adam's Family, which actually came out, I think, a week and a half later than I had meant for it to. So with the exception of that, because I was working on it for so long, the other 3 videos, I wrote them and filmed them thinking, I don't know what I'm doing at all. I'll fix it in post. Which is a joke that is made a lot in the industry. But it's just become kind of true for me. I'm trying to get better. Honestly, the fact that I'm making anything at all is already an improvement. So, baby steps.
I don't think you're making baby steps, though, TBH.
Thank you. I do think that, at least in terms of production quality, my videos are all significantly better than they were even just a few months ago. I'm still not crazy about my content, but I'm getting so much good feedback on it that I'm like, okay, it's a lot of it is just me in my head then. Because really and truly, I don't know if anyone listening has seen the video that I put out the week of Halloween. It's a parody sort of Scream, and my character gets a phone call in his kitchen, and it's like a murdery voice, and then hilarity ensues. Anyway, when I wrote that one, as I was writing it, I think I wrote that in like an hour, and then I think I cleaned it up a little, made the second draft in like half an hour, and then I was like, okay, it's time to film because we're running out of time. So the entire time I was writing it, I was like, this is insane. What is he talking about? Is this even an ending? I actually changed the ending in post. I had a few more lines and I cut it off because I was like, you know what? It ends better here. This is fine. But it wasn't until I was editing it that I was like, oh, this is what it's gonna look like. I had no idea what I was doing. And I think most of my unfinished projects are from past years. The only ones from this year stopped because of COVID. But I think it's because I'm just telling myself, you have to do it. Like, just do it. Just finish it. Please, dear God, just finish something for once. And I just treat myself like that every time. And then I'm like, oh, look, I made another thing. And look, people like it. I don't quite get what they see in it, but they like it. So if other people are getting something from what I'm doing, even if I don't always know what I'm doing, I'm happy, I guess. As close to happy as I can be.
It's funny. Just do it is like one of the overarching themes of this entire podcast.
It really is. I guess in like every episode I possibly can, I'm like, just do it. Just do it.
Also, when you said a murdery voice, I originally heard a murdery boy because you were like, I put on something about how you did how you were. The way you phrased it made it sound like you were like being a murdery boy. I thought that was very funny.
Oh, you've been a murdery boy.
Well, I heard it more like the way internet people are like, you know, he's a chunky boy, or like, you know, like about a big fat cat, or like, you know.
I saw a meme recently about if millennials were naming like dinosaurs back in the day.
That was funny.
I can't remember examples, but they were basically like riffing on that idea. A chunky boy. Like
I'll put it, I'll find it again and I'll put it in the show notes.
Thank you. But so when you're writing alone, you normally like, well, maybe not normally, but like it's not unheard of that you'll put something down and then come back to it later.
Oh yeah, all the time.
I did not realize that.
I have what my amazing mentor, my thesis advisor, Cecily Parks, what she called, or probably still calls, a poetry graveyard, where you can just go and resurrect things. It's I don't think I've ever just abandoned a poem and said, like, I'm never gonna do anything with this again. If I do that, I just delete it completely. But it's rare that that ever happens. Or like, you know, throw it away if I've written it on paper. I just have dozens, at the very least, of poems that I have drafts of, but I know I need to go back to them at some point. And I know I will. It's a matter of when. And I do that pretty often. I'll be like, I want to work on something, and I'll go through it. Like, what drafts do I have that I can zhuzh up? and I'll go and do it. So yeah, that happens a lot.
I did not know that at all. I assumed you were just failing.
I mean, ¿por qué no los dos?
That's what I felt like I was saying. Oh, I assumed you were just terrible at everything, like always. There. By the way, in case anyone's wondering, I don't actually talk Tim down as much as he does to himself.
Oh yeah, AJ hardly hardly does that at all.
I like it because it implies that I still do it and like that it hurts. And pain is all I want. From others, obviously. Not for myself. Why would I want pain for myself? I'm not crazy.
You're a sadist, not a masochist.
I shouldn't have used the word crazy.
You want to use a different one?
Nah. Just keep that in. Just keep all this in. I'm not going to correct myself. I'm just going to tell myself that I was wrong and then move on. So I think I might have mentioned at the beginning of this episode that we might also talk about general unfinished things that are not projects. So one of the things for me that I still haven't finished, a movie that I haven't finished, is Finding Nemo. And so, like, for years I've been making the joke, like, I don't know if they find him because I've never seen the ending. But yeah, I still, to this day, have not seen the last, like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, half hour of Finding Nemo. That is one of many movies that I have not finished.
I have a lot of those too. Actually, I hadn't thought of this before now, but I have a Pixar movie like that, and it's Monsters, Inc. I saw, like, the beginning of it at a sleepover one time, but I never saw the end.
That's one of those. I can't remember if I've seen it. I think I can kind of remember the end, so I know I've seen the end, but I don't know if I've, like, watched it all the way through, you know, or if I've just, like, caught bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, that's me with Forrest Gump. And people, like, as we mentioned many times, y'all, we're millennials, so, like, we were in the prime of our childhood when Forrest Gump was, like, huge. It was being parodied everywhere. Oh my god, people were just talking about it all the time and, like, quoting it all the time. So throughout my life, I think probably by now I have seen every scene in it at some point, but I haven't sat down and watched the whole movie ever. And being from the era that we're from, I mean, we're still from this era. We are current, y'all. But what I'm trying to say is, having grown up in the era in which we grew up, if anybody finds that out about me, they're always shocked. And that's not to say there aren't a great number of movies like that. I have this one friend. We'll call him Zebulon. That's the name from the Bible. Like, anyway. It doesn't sound like it, though. It definitely sounds like an alien overlord.
Yeah, or like someone from the future, or like a planet.
But he has a Z name from the Bible, so I figure, like, whatever. Anyway, the person I'm talking about, his real name is not Zebulon. Anyway. His favorite movie, I think, is no, that's not true. His favorite movie is Clueless, but one of his favorite movies is Dumb and Dumber, and we started to watch it one time and then we both fell asleep. So that's another movie I haven't seen. I feel like there are a bunch of, like, movies of our generation that, like, I have never seen.
When we were talking about doing this episode, I did not think about, and we even talked about this part, talking about movies that we haven't finished. It didn't occur to me all the movies that I started with men and then I haven't finished because of like making out or more.
I didn't think about that either, but there's so many.
I'm at this very moment I can actually only think of one, but there's just definitely more than that. I just can't think of any more. But also, I mean, like, I've always been pretty straight to the point with hookups. Unless it was, like, a date. If it was a date, then maybe it's like, oh, yeah, I'll come over to watch a movie. But for most of my, like, sexy time things, it's just strictly getting to business and then going home. Because, like, I've got to wake up early. I can't remember, even though I'm thinking of one particular time, I can't remember what movie we were watching. Wait, Ricky Gervais is playing, like, a doctor or a dentist or something. Oh, and I think he sees dead people or something?
I know what movie you're talking... I mean, I haven't seen it, but I know what movie you're talking about, I think. The Invention of Lying or something like that? Maybe
Ghost Town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Multiple movies.
Ghost Town. I remember I wanted to, like, actually watch it, though. So I shouldn't have picked it. But I think he let me pick. We were at his place, and he let me pick it. And I don't remember how much of it I even got to see.
Okay, let me backtrack for me for a second. When I said, like, oh my god, so many, I didn't mean to imply that, like, I'm a player or anything. Like, I don't get around that often.
Or at all.
But I feel like it's happened to me multiple times. So one time, to be fair, this was The Office, and I've seen all of The Office all the way through multiple times. But I was with someone, and The Office was on, and we started making out, and I kept laughing because I was paying attention to what was happening on The Office. So I felt a little bad about that. Another time, it was with someone else. It was... this was a date, but then it turned into more than a date. But we were watching one of the new Star Wars movies. What?
You were like, it was a date, but then it turned into more than a date. And I'm like, well, For me, it's not uncommon for a date to end up with some sort of sexual interaction.
That's true.
To call it more than a date, to me, I was like, did y'all get married?
Yeah,
like,
it does make it sound like that.
babies?
No,
like,
it turned into sexy times. But yeah, we were watching one of the new Star Wars and we didn't get very far in it. Another date with a different person. We were watching an episode of The Great British Bake Off. Someone else, this was the stupidest one. Not that I'm calling him stupid, but like, this is the most ridiculous one. He put on Christopher Robin, which like, I can't imagine a less appropriate movie
right.
to be playing while you're trying to like mac on someone. Like, why was to this day, I don't know. That was very strange to me. I mean, I think it was probably just whatever movie he had like in his DVD player or whatever. I don't know. I feel like there are more, but that's all I can think of. That might be it, actually.
That's way more than I thought that you were going to have. That's a lot. Are you a slut?
I don't know.
Honestly, it's subjective, but you're not. We'll have to come back to these in our Hookup Lovers episodes.
That's right.
Our future ones. Our first one came out a couple weeks ago, if you want to go find it.
Yeah, episode 12? No.
Yes.
No.
Episode 15.
Oh, duh. I haven't edited it yet. Edited is very hard to say. But I haven't done that yet.
As of the recording of this episode.
As of that, yes.
By the time this episode comes out, he's definitely done editing it. It is out already.
Yes.
It's the episode before this one.
That's right. Oh my God.
In case you like how we talk. Another movie that I did not finish alone, though. There were no other people involved. I was in like, I don't know what, 6th grade. When did Lord of the Rings, the movie, come out? Because that's the movie that I'm talking about.
2000 maybe?
Somewhere around there. Anyway, all my friends really liked it, and they all really liked the books. And I could not get into either. And the movie, all I remember the movie being, I think I watched the first 6 minutes because that's all I could get through. Because all I remember, honestly, is the camera sweeping across like mountains or trees or like lakes and water and just like credits. Just like the names of people in the movie and the names of people who made the movie. That's all I remember. I don't remember any story or any characters. And I was like, are we ever going to like see something? Or is this just about the people who made it? Like,
when are we gonna get to Middle Earth?
I don't get that reference because I've never seen it or read the books.
It was half Lord of the Rings reference and half Simpsons reference.
Unsurprising. But anyway, yeah, I could not get through it, and I don't think I'm ever gonna try. I don't. It's that and like Star Wars. Those are the movies that I'm like, I'd like to watch them so I could like fully understand what everyone is talking about when they make references or like parodies. But I'm also like, there's a lot of those movies and they're all super long.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm that interested in them. So there's other things I could be doing with my time.
I feel like you've seen enough parodies and references to like be able to piece together the important stuff.
I think so. I was watching a YouTube video where it was like people trying to tell the story of Harry Potter, but they'd never seen the movies or read the books. And I was thinking that that'd be really fun. Someday I might do that just for fun, just to see how I do. Try to tell the story of like Lord of the Rings or like Star Wars. Because it wasn't until I watched that video, the Harry Potter one, that I was like, oh, because I know Harry Potter. And so I'm like,
he's a good friend of yours.
Yeah. We're basically besties. So I don't know that I could, like, watching those people try to tell the story, I was like, oh, okay, idiot. But I'm like, oh wait, there's plenty of things that are super pop culture and I would not be able to tell you what it's about.
Same.
Like Star Wars, I'm like, siblings kiss. That's all I got.
Oh
like,
my God.
I'm out. That's all I know.
I will point out that they did not know they were siblings at the time.
I know that, but that's less interesting. We're trying to get listeners here.
That's true. Oh, I have to, before we move on too far, I have to enthusiastically recommend a piece of media. So you talking about people trying to describe Harry Potter without having experienced it. There's this, I don't even know what to call it. It's an audio track called Wizard People Dear Reader. It's by a hilarious person. I don't know if comedian is the title he wears. Brad Neely. He like plays this character who is narrating the plot of the film version of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, but he's never read the book or seen the movie. I can't even do it justice. I'll put some sort of link to something in the show notes. AJ, you haven't seen it, right?
It doesn't sound familiar.
I know Emma and I, at various points in our friendship, have tried to, or have strongly suggested that we have like a movie night and watch it. But you sync it up with the movie, and you mute the audio of the real movie, and then you play it along with it. And he's like badly explaining what's happening on the screen, and he gives all the characters ridiculous nicknames. He calls Professor McGonagall cat-faced meowmers. It's all very ridiculous and funny.
That sounds familiar.
Emma and I, the oft-mentioned Emma and I, quote it pretty regularly. Like anytime, if you've ever heard us say "ta-da, ta-da, ta-da forever," that's where that's from. Yeah, we quote a lot. You know, this isn't related to movies at all. One unfinished project that I start and unfinish almost every year is scarves. I always tell myself that for Christmas or the holidays, I'm going to make a bunch of scarves for people and give them as gifts. And I have started at least 5 different scarves. I have never finished one ever in my life.
Someday,
I hope.
I mean, if you want, I can pester you into doing it.
That's all right.
You'd rather not do it.
No, it's not that. I don't know. Would they even like it?
They being the people you would give the scarves to?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Who doesn't like a scarf? Even if it's poorly made. Even if it's trash.
Would you wear a scarf I made?
I would accept it. Where do I go? When would I wear it? Timothy, I'm allergic to scarves. And that's why I don't support the arts. Yes, I'd wear a scarf you gave me, Tim.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, whatever. There's plenty of other unfinished projects we could talk about, but then we might be talking so long that this episode would be another unfinished project.
But maybe it is an unfinished project because we didn't discuss everything we possibly could.
Oh my god, this episode is now on the list of unfinished projects.
Meta.
I was not prepared. I did not know that was going to happen. Wow. Life.
Alexa, play Mozart's Requiem. Because he didn't finish it. He died before he finished. And it's like a requiem is like a mass for a dead person. It's just like very poetic and sad. Okay.
Well, the dead have finished the project that is their lives. So I think it's time that we finish this episode.
Sounds good. Well, in that case, thank you all for listening. We have been Can I Bother You? You can find us on the socials at Can I Bother You on Twitter and Instagram. You can search Can I Bother You on Facebook and we'll show up there as well. You can also bother us for advice. We are always looking for advice seekers with questions that need answering. So feel free to send your conundrums to bother us at canibotheryou.com. You can find me at TCJDV on Twitter, at Tomatillo88 on Instagram, and just search Timothy Dailey-Valdes if for some reason you want to find me on Facebook. I don't know, maybe you find me entertaining, maybe you don't, you probably don't. That's fine. I'm being a little down on myself and I'm spiraling a little bit. So AJ, why don't you tell us about where we can find you?
No, I'd like to watch you spiral.
Well, we live together, so you see it all the time.
Fine. You never let me have any fun. They can find me when I'm not watching Timothy spiral through his window. I'm watching him through the window. You're not spiraling through the window. I'll work on the joke and do it again next episode. Anyway, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at AJReyesF13. And I was trying to figure out a way to plug my YouTube videos a little more. Subscribe. That was the plug. And also, if you want to help us out more with the podcast, you can rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and leave a review, please. Tell us and the world what you think. Your words matter, especially if they are good to us. And another way you can support us is by subscribing or following from your podcatcher of choice. And if you wanted to help us with expenses, both podcast related and also just because we can't afford our rent. Okay, I'm exaggerating. I can't afford our rent.
Hey, Jay.
What? I'm not here to lie, Timothy. But the point is, anyway, if you wanted to support the podcast, you can also do that through Ko-fi. We will leave our link in the description. Also, I'm not trying to guilt you into giving me money. You don't have to give me money at all. If you do want to follow us on socials, though, that would be chill. I would love that. I think that we covered everything. So now it's just time to go away.
Okay. Well, it's always sad to go, but goodbye.